There's a $3 liquid sitting on hardware store shelves right now that can make dead, oxidized paint look factory new again. Not temporarily, not for a few weeks, permanently. And in the next few minutes, you're going to see exactly why the auto industry never wanted this to go mainstream. Because once you understand this, you'll never look at paint damage the same way again. Most people think faded or chalky paint is dead, finished, beyond repair. That once it reaches that stage, the only option left is a full respray. $1,500, $3,000, sometimes even more. But that belief? It's wrong. Completely wrong. And in a minute, I'm going to show you why. But first, you need to understand what's actually happening to your car. Because this is where everything starts to fall apart. Paint doesn't die. It fractures. Under sunlight, heat, and time, the clear coat on your car begins to break down at a microscopic level. Tiny cracks form across the surface, invisible to your eyes, but they're there, thousands of them. And when light hits those cracks, it scatters instead of reflecting cleanly. That's why the paint turns dull, chalky, faded. It's not gone, it's broken. But here's where it gets weird, because those microscopic cracks, they act like channels. And if a liquid is thin enough, it can flow into them, not sit on top like wax, not polish the surface like compounds, but actually go inside the damage. And this next part is the one nobody talks about. If that liquid hardens inside those cracks, it doesn't just improve the look, it rebuilds the structure, from the inside out. Now stay with me, because this is where everything changes. There's a specific type of liquid, usually sold as a basic acrylic coating or sealer, that does exactly this. When applied correctly, it seeps into oxidized paint through capillary action, filling every microscopic fracture, and as it dries, it bonds. Not on the surface, inside the paint, permanent. No sanding, no machines, no professional booth, just a foam applicator and time. And in controlled testing, the results are insane. Heavily oxidized panels, completely chalk white, restored to deep gloss, not 50%, not 70%, near factory-level reflectivity, from a product that costs less than $3. Let that sink in. Because if this works the way it sounds like it does, what happens to the entire auto body industry? Now think about it. Billions of dollars every year come from paint correction, not accidents, not structural damage, just cosmetic restoration, faded paint, oxidation, surface defects. And the standard process? It's brutal. Sand the surface down, strip layers away, repaint everything from scratch. It takes hours, sometimes days, and it costs thousands. But here's the part that should make you question everything. That entire system only works if one thing is true, that damaged paint cannot be permanently restored. Because if it can, if a $3 liquid can do what a $3,000 respray promises, then the entire business model starts to crack. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Because industries don't protect solutions, they protect revenue. A permanent fix doesn't generate repeat customers, it eliminates them. No follow-ups, no maintenance cycles, just one application, and you're done. That's not a service. That's the end of a service. So what happens to solutions like that? They don't get promoted. They don't get taught. They don't show up in training manuals or recommendations. They just disappear. No bans, no warnings, just silence. And after years of silence, people stop questioning. They accept the default answer. Your paint is dead. You need a respray. There's no other option. But now you know that's not true. So let me ask you something, and be honest. Do you think this was hidden on purpose? Or do you think it's just a coincidence nobody talks about it? Comment hidden or coincidence. I'm reading every single one, because this is where it gets even deeper. There have been real-world tests where oxidized surfaces were treated with simple acrylic formulations. No expensive tools, no advanced prep, and after application, massive gloss recovery. Months later, still holding. Years later, still intact. Meanwhile, traditional polishing methods, they fade fast because they don't fix the structure, they remove it. They grind down the surface and temporarily smooth it out. But the damage underneath is still there, which is why the problem comes back every single time. And that's not an accident. That's a loop. Problem, temporary fix, problem returns, repeat. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Because this $3 liquid doesn't follow that loop. It breaks it. It doesn't remove material. It restores it. It doesn't sit on top. It becomes part of the paint. And once it bonds, there's nothing left to fix. Which means there's nothing left to sell. And that's the real reason this never went mainstream. Because it's not just cheap, it's final. And final solutions don't scale in billion-dollar industries. But here's the craziest part. Even after hearing this, most people still won't try it. Because we've been trained to believe something our entire lives. If it's cheap, it can't be real. But what if that belief is the only thing keeping this system alive? What if the price is the distraction, and the real value is hidden behind it? Now, if you're still here, you're already ahead of 99% of people watching this, because most would have clicked off the moment they heard $3. But you didn't, which means you're starting to see the pattern. And this isn't the only place it exists. Because in the next video, I'm exposing another industry, over $100 billion, using the exact same system. Same structure, same loop, same silence. And once you see that one, this will look small. So if you made it this far, comment Part 2 right now, because what's coming next changes how you see everything.